understand who he was, we need to start with his end. Dr. Jose Rizal is considered a national hero not because he led an armed revolution, but because he used his intellect, education, and writings to awake Filipino nationalism. His life showed that peaceful reform, education, and love of country could challenge oppression. This idea began to form during his childhood and family life. On a quiet moonlight night in Calamba, Laguna on June 19, 1861, a child was born who would one day change the destiny of a nation. His name was Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonzo Rionolonda. No one in that small lakeshore town could have imagined that first Freelance infant would grow into the most influential hero in the Philippines history. Jose Rizal was raised in a home where learning was valued all else. His mother, Donna Teodora Alonzo Riolonda, was his first teacher. She taught him how to read, write, pray, and think deeply about the world around him. Under the guidance, Rizal developed a love for books, poetry, and the arts. His father, Francisco Mercado Rizal, instilled in him discipline, honesty, and hard work. As Rizal grew older, he became more aware of the injustice suffered by Filipinos under Spanish rule. He saw his family experience discrimination and witnessed his father's unjust imprisonment. These painful events awake his desire to fight oppressions, not with weapons but with knowledge and truth. Rizal pursued education incessantly, studying in the Philippines and later in Europe. There he wrote the novel No Limitang Carry and El Filibusterismo, which exposed the currently corruption and abuse of power of Spanish authorities and arrest. His word ignited the spirit of nationalism among Filipino and inspired the movement for reform and freedom. His peaceful belief, Rizal was considered a threat by the colonial governments. He was arrested, exiled, and eventually executed on December 30, 1896 at Tabagumbayan, now Lunita Park. He was faced death. Rizal remained calm and fearless, offering his life for the freedom of his people. Rizal's death did not silence his voice. Instead, it strengthened the resolve of Filipinos to fight for independence. His life proved that courage, intelligence, and love of country could change history. Today, Dr. Jose Rizal is remembered not only as a hero, but a symbol of hope, wisdom, and national freedom.
When he was targeted by the police due to his novel that offended Catholic Church officials and members despite his apologies. So he returned to Europe and continued to write, in which he released his second novel, El Filibusterismo, The Reign of Greed, in 1891. He also published an article in La Solidaridad, a paper aligned with the propaganda movement towards achieving assimilation with Spain. Eventually, in the year 1892, Jose Rizal decided to go back to the Philippines even though he was exiled due to his writings that called for reform in Spain. But Jose Rizal did not let his fear overwhelm him because he knew his country needed him more to achieve the change at the hands of Spain. So he founded the La Liga Filipina in Manila, a non-violent reform society that originated from La Solidaridad. In the propaganda, was exiled to Dapitan on the island of Mindanao. For almost 4 years, Jose Rizal was still in exile, and at that time, he met a girl named Josephine Bracken, in which he fell in love with her. Then later on, they decided to get married, as they requested a license to marry. Unfortunately, because of the trouble he had with the church, the request was rejected. And during the
year 1896, the Nationalist Secret Society was established called the Katipunan that revolted against Spain. At that time, even though Jose Rizal had no contact with the group and did not approve of its violent methods, he was arrested shortly after. He then went to trial and was convicted of sedition and sentenced to death by firing squad. So on December 30, 1896, at the age of 35 years old, a heartbreaking and tragic event happened in Manila. It was the public execution of Jose Rizal. The death of Jose Rizal created more opposition against the Spanish rule. That's why in 1898, the Philippines was no longer under the control of Spain. However, even though Jose Rizal died, his memories will always be forever in every Filipino's heart. He was one of the nationalist icons in the Philippines, who also helped the country to take a brave step towards independence against the Spaniards. His 2 novels inspired other Filipinos to seek independence and brought a huge contribution during the early beginnings of the Philippine Revolution. Also, his advocacy to achieve independence through peaceful means rather than violent revolution has been admired by many people. His heroism, compassion, courage, patriotism, love for the country has been recognized by the Filipino people. Currently, as a remembrance and honor of the national hero of the Philippines, Dr. Jose Rizal. A lot of memorials and statues can be seen not only within the country, but also in selected countries in the world. And in fact, there are some streets, towns, provinces, and even university named after him. And as a commemoration of his great contribution to the country, the Philippines built a memorial park for him, which is now referred to as the Rizal Park in Manila.
In a peaceful uprising rather than a bloody war. He is commonly known as Dr. Jose Rizal.